4 years is a long time to carry someone else's weight, especially when you think you're the only thing standing between them and a world that's ready to eat them alive. That was my life with Ethan Cole. Every morning I'd walk into that towering glass mansion on the edge of Lake Michigan, set my bag down, and adjust the pillows behind his back, like it was the most important ritual in the world. And maybe it was because for those 4 years, Ethan was supposed to be paralyzed from the waist down. He was my patient, my responsibility, my entire reason for dragging myself out of bed at dawn. I had no idea he was also carrying a secret so heavy it would shatter me the moment it came out. Ethan Cole wasn't just any man in a wheelchair. He was the heir to Cole Dynamics, a billion-dollar empire everyone in Chicago whispered about. His brother and mother treated him like he was already 6 feet under, circling the company like vultures. They never looked at him as a man, only as an obstacle. But me, I couldn't help but see the human being sitting there, sharp, blue eyes, humor, buried under exhaustion, and the kind of loneliness that makes you want to pull a chair up and just stay. "Good morning, Mr. Cole," I'd say with my practiced smile, checking his vitals. "Just call me Ethan," he'd reply, voice softer than the stone his family carved their hearts from. I thought I was helping him fight his way back from tragedy. What I didn't know was that every night after I went home to my cramped apartment and my stack of bills, he'd stand up, walk across the room, stretch his legs like a caged lion pacing, planning his next move in a game I didn't even know existed. His younger brother Ryan loved barging in during therapy sessions, strutting around in $5,000 suits, mocking the man he called his crippled sibling. One morning he sneered, "Still got the nurse playing house with you, huh? The board's tired of waiting, Ethan. You can't run a company when you can't even stand." I remember stepping between them, my voice sharper than I meant. "He needs rest. Maybe you could schedule a meeting instead of barging in like a spoiled child." Ryan's laugh was cold, smug. "Careful, sweetheart. This is family business. You're just here for the paycheck." I saw Ethan's jaw tighten, his hands flex, like maybe, just maybe, he wasn't as powerless as he wanted the world to believe. For years, I poured everything into him, massaging lifeless legs, whispering encouragement, telling him miracles happen, because I needed to believe that myself. My mom was working 2 jobs to pay for her insulin. My sister Destiny was trying to get into college with no money, and hope felt like a luxury. One night as I was helping him through another set of stretches, he asked Maya, "What would you do if someone you trusted had been lying to you for years?" I frowned, thinking it was just another one of his philosophical moods. "I guess it depends. If they were lying to protect someone they loved, maybe I could forgive that. If it was selfish, that'd be harder." He went quiet eyes searching mine, like he was begging me to say the right answer. I didn't know he was already testing whether I could survive the truth. The day everything changed was the day of the board meeting. Ryan had been plotting for months to strip Ethan of his CEO position. His mother, Margaret, a woman who could cut glass with a single glare, pushed the board to vote him out. They treated him like a dying man clinging to power. I told Ethan I was going with him. Ryan rolled his eyes. "This isn't a medical appointment," but I said, "Where my patient goes, I go." And Ethan, for once, didn't argue. Walking into that boardroom was like walking into a firing squad. Ryan painted him as weak, incapable, a liability. I couldn't stay silent. I laid out numbers I'd memorized: profits up 30% under Ethan's leadership, employee satisfaction at record highs, Forbes ranking him one of the top innovators under 40. The board shuffled papers, suddenly uneasy. Ryan's smirk faltered. Then Ethan dropped his bomb. He revealed he'd been running a private investigation, proof of leaked bid sabotage, espionage, and all of it traced back to Ryan. The room cracked open like thunder. Ryan sputtered, Margaret turned pale, and Ethan sat there calm as stone. But as proud as I felt standing beside him, I couldn't shake the feeling something else was coming. Later that night, when the house was finally quiet, Ethan looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Fear. Not of his family, not of losing the company, of losing me. "Maya," he whispered, "there's something I need to tell you." And then before I could answer, he stood up. My knees almost buckled. The man I'd been caring for, feeding, bathing, lifting, was standing tall, walking toward me like the past 4 years had been a cruel joke. "You can walk," I breathed, my voice hollow. "Yes," he admitted, "I've been able to this whole time." The room spun. I felt like my chest was caving in. 4 years, Ethan. 4 years I believed every struggle, every exercise, every tear. Was I just part of your lie? He reached for me, desperate. I never meant for it to be like this. I was supposed to die in that accident, Maya. Ryan and Margaret planned it. Pretending to be paralyzed was the only way to survive long enough to expose them. I needed you. More than you'll ever understand. I laughed, but it was bitter. Needed me, or needed a cover story. Because what I see is a billionaire who played me like the rest of the world. Before he could answer, Ryan barged in again, except this time he had his phone recording. His eyes lit up when he saw Ethan standing. "Well, well, the miracle patient. This is going to bury you, brother. 4 years of fraud, and look at your nurse, the perfect accomplice." "That's not true," I snapped, but Ryan's grin widened. "Oh, come on, Maya. You never suspected a nurse that blind. Either you're a fool or you were in on it." My blood went cold. He was right about one thing the world would never believe I hadn't noticed. Everything I'd worked for as a professional nurse was crumbling before my eyes. Ethan stepped between us, his voice like ice. "Leave her out of this. She's innocent." But Ryan just kept circling, pressing. "Innocent, or just another pawn in your little love story scam." I wanted to scream to run, but all I could do was stare at Ethan, torn between the man I thought I loved and the stranger standing in front of me. The fallout was brutal. Ethan exposed Ryan and Margaret publicly with recordings that left the board stunned. The FBI took them into custody. Cold Dynamics was his. Again, the empire restored. But I couldn't stay. I packed my things, ignored his calls, disappeared. Weeks later, he found me at my mother's apartment where the kitchen smelled of coffee and exhaustion. He told me the truth about the money. How he'd been secretly paying for my mom's treatments, setting up a fund for Destiny's college, making sure we never sank under the weight of bills. "Why?" I demanded. "Why keep helping us while lying to me every day?" "Because I love you," he said simply. "Because your family raised the strongest woman I've ever known. And I couldn't stand watching you break yourself for me when I had the power to help." I wanted to hate him, I really did. But then my mom, sitting quietly at the table, said softly, "A man who lies to protect himself is one thing. A man who lies and still makes sure your family survives, that's a man worth forgiving." It wasn't easy. Trust doesn't just snap back into place. But Ethan proved himself day after day. He was honest even when it hurt. He showed me every part of his empire, every ugly scar of his family's betrayal. And slowly, I saw the man beneath the lies, the man who laughed at my dumb jokes, who made sure Carlos at the gate always had my coffee order ready, who looked at me like I was more than just a nurse. Months later, he knelt down in the same garden where I once felt like nothing but a pawn in his game. No more lies, no more masks. Just Ethan, the man who nearly lost everything because he was too scared to tell the truth. "Maya," he said, eyes burning with something I couldn't deny. Will you give me the chance to spend the rest of my life proving that my love for you is the only thing I never lied about? And I said yes. Not because he was a billionaire, not because he saved my family, but because I finally believed him. Because sometimes love isn't about perfect beginnings, it's about surviving the storm of lies and still choosing each other at the end. Now people argue about our story. Some say he was manipulative, cruel, unforgivable. Others say he was brilliant, brave, even romantic. But me, I think love is messy. It's wrong choices and second chances. It's being lied to, being broken, and still seeing the person behind it all. So I'll leave you with this. What would you do if someone you loved lied to you for years, but claimed it was the only way to survive? Would you forgive them or walk away forever? Tell me in the comments. I really want to know how you'd see it.